Cody Epley on Saturday. You know, Corey Wade has given us over 2 innings at times, so we've been able to spread it out, but you can't keep doing it.
There was a great matchup in Texas, Darvish against Kuroda. Kuroda pitched pretty well, but you guys lost that game 2-0. You feel better about Kuroda?
I do. I just think he had a start where he didn't have his velocity, and that can happen. You know, from time to time, guys aren't going to have their great stuff, and he wasn't able to get through it, but he was really good in Texas.
All right, and Nova pitches on Friday. He avoids getting the loss, so his streak is still alive of 15 straight. What'd you see from him on Friday against the Tigers?
You know, the inning that they got the 3 runs early, you know, they hit some balls on the ground that got through the infield. I mean, that's going to happen. They hit him pretty hard in the 6th inning as he got, you know, up around 90 pitches, and that was why we took him out. I thought he threw pretty well the first 5 innings. 6th inning, he got hit hard.
Now let's talk some offense for the Yankees. Robinson Cano still doesn't seem to be Robinson Cano. What's up with that?
You know, I'm not real sure. I mean, he's had some hard lineouts. I mean, we saw him line out hard to the center fielder on Saturday. He's just not quite there, and he'll get there. I mean, I'm not concerned about that, and he'll get his numbers where they belong, but right now he's off to a slow start.
Alex Rodriguez was 3 for 20 on the road trip, 1 for his last 17. Then on Friday, he swings the bat well, hits a home run, taking the ball to center and to right field. What do you see from him?
Just kind of the ebb and flow of what guys go through early in the season. You know, sometimes there's some consistency issues. Sometimes they hit the ball hard and don't get hits. But Friday he had a big game for us and a big reason we won.
All right. Also, Brett Gardner's been missed, especially defensively in left field. What's his status?
Yeah, you really see the value of him in left field when he's not out there. And he's getting closer. He started to swing the bat. He started on Saturday, took some tee and some light toss, had no pain, and we'll just continue to progress, and hopefully we'll get him back, you know, next week in Kansas City.
You know, it's so weird, Joe, where everything is interconnected. You decided to go with 8 pitchers when Gardner went down, and then Ibanez makes a bad play on Friday. Ball gets by him. He's not an outfielder anymore by trade where he would start out there, but you guys still would like him out there. Was it a tough call to not have an extra outfielder come up from the minor leagues, but you had to because the starters have been so weak?
It wasn't a tough call. We knew that we needed the extra bullpen help because we didn't want to wear the guys down. And when you play 19 out of the first 20 days, it's hard, whether you have starters going a lot or not, just because, you know, you guys aren't used to pitching that much, because in spring training it's regulated how much they throw. And when you start 19 out of 20 days, it's tough anyway.
Ibanez hits amazingly long home runs. What's the deal with that? He hit one in Texas that's still going.
You know, I asked Kevin Long about it, and I said, Kevin, I mean, I said, some of the home runs he hits are massive shots. And he said, his lower half works as good as anyone's in the game, and that's where he generates his power from.
Joe, I've always contended of the 30 Major League managers, you'd probably be the one who's in the best shape. And you showed that on Friday with an incredibly athletic move, jumping over the fence after you got thrown out.
That would have really looked bad.
I mean, you just didn't want to take the time to go down and then go up.
Well,
right?
I got to move Tony, or I got to move Kevin Long, so I figured it was just quicker to jump over the fence.
Let's talk about that ejection. What fired you up so much with Joe West?
You know, I just felt like, you know, the strike zone, I wasn't happy with it. And Verlander, to me, doesn't need any help. I mean, this is a guy that throws up to 100 miles an hour and doesn't need any help. So our guys were complaining. You know, obviously we see things, and, you know, with the video today, and it wasn't a strike zone. I thought that was favorable for us in a sense. I wasn't saying that we weren't getting pitches as well. But when you're facing a guy like Verlander, it's hard when he gets a little help.
It's hard to set you off, but you do have something that pushes your button.
Yeah.
What really fired you up so much about Joe that day that you leapt over the fence?
Well, I didn't want Russell to get thrown out.
Okay.
You know, and I think you have to protect your players in that sense, because they're very important to you, and your starting catcher is very important to you, and you never want to be down to one catcher. And I didn't want any one of our guys to get thrown out.
All right, that game also ends with a walk-off pass ball. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I have. I think I lost one of my first games when I was manager of the Marlins that way. So it does happen. And, you know, I was telling the press that day, they were talking about, you know, it's a fastball wild pitch. And I just said, you know, sometimes people assume because it's a fastball, a catcher should always catch it. But when you're set up on one side and they throw it on the other side, those sometimes are the hardest ones to get because they get to you so quickly. And when you talk about the movement that Villarreal has, that's almost an impossible ball to stop. He stopped 1-0 to Granderson. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he caught that. So that's a tough play.
Now you would think that as a manager of the Yankees, you know your team better than anybody, right?
Yes.
We're going to quiz you in the next segment.
Great.
Yeah, it's going to be unbelievable.
Great.
And later on, you're going to get a chance to ask Joe some questions yourself throughout the week. You can send questions to Facebook and Twitter at YesNetwork.com as well. So a lot of questions came in this week, and we will get those to Joe later on in the segment. How well does Joe know his Yankees? That's coming up. Well hits a home run, taking the ball to center and to right field. What do you see from him?
Just kind of the ebb and flow of what
Hits a home run, taking the ball to center and to right field. What do you see from him?
just kind of the ebb and flow of what guys go through early in the season. You know, sometimes there's some consistency issues. Sometimes they hit the ball hard and don't get hits. So it does happen. And, you know, I was telling the press that day, they were talking about, you know, it's a fastball wild pitch. And I just said, you know, sometimes people assume because it's a fastball that way. So it does happen. And, you know, I was telling the press that day, they were talking about, you know, it's a fastball wild pitch. And I just said, you know, sometimes people assume because it's a fastball, a catcher should always catch it. But
home run, taking the ball to center and to right field. What do you see from him?
just kind of the ebb and flow of what guys go through early in the season. You know, sometimes there's some consistency issues. Sometimes